everyone, welcome to the Post Office. I'm Mayor Lisa Post and I'm excited to be here today. For the first few shows, I'm excited to introduce you to our council team, and we're going to start today with someone who's no stranger, our new Deputy Mayor, Todd Taylor. Welcome, Todd.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you here. I feel like we've done this so many times over the years.
We have.
And now we're here in a neat time.
I know, but we get to be here while you're the leader.
That's
so
right.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
We used to sit on the back benches together, and now here you are.
Here we are.
Yeah, it's funny.
So tell me, we want to introduce you to the rest of the community. There's a lot of new residents in Orangeville, so I know you, but they don't. So can you give me like a couple of minute introduction to who is Todd Taylor?
Sure. You know, when somebody asks you that, that's such a leading question, right? Because you want to share, but it feels funny talking about yourself. But it's funny. So we lived in London until 2002. And then I was working for a consumer packaged goods company at the time, and they said, hey, we're moving you. And that job was in Brampton, and we quickly decided that probably wasn't, the big city wasn't for us. We wanted to be somewhere smaller. Landed here in Orangeville, and I said to my wife, Laura, I said, you know, we'll be 3 or 4 years, and then we'll move, and we'll go somewhere else. We'll save some money, and we'll go somewhere else. And here we are 20 some odd years later, and we're still here, and it's in us. Like, I just love this little town, and I feel so fortunate to be here, and it's been great. So we raised our 2 kids here, and Morgan's 22 now, and Casey's finishing high school, getting ready to go to university, and Lori and I are going to stay. So
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just such we're so blessed to be here. You know, it's just a great town. So I don't know. That's how I got here.
No, that's awesome. I love that.
What else do you want to know? Where do you want to go after that?
Okay, so I think that's a really great setup. And when you got into the community, what was most different to you about Orangeville from where you were in London before?
Yeah, so I would say the first couple of years I hibernated.
In Orangeville?
In Orangeville.
Okay.
You just we had little kids. We didn't know a lot of people, so you didn't necessarily get involved. And then as I got out a little bit, I met some folks, and they invited me to the Optimist Club.
Awesome.
And said, hey, why don't you come out and see what it's all about, and come to a meeting with us. So we did. And if you don't know, the Optimist Club does so many, like I know you know, but viewers may not know, the Optimist Club does so many things here in town. And as you do things, you meet more people. And as you do those things, you get into other things, and the network just expanded and the interest expanded. And this is a town where if you want to be involved and you want to make a difference, it's not hard to get involved and make a difference. And it just got into my
So you've been an Optimist for that long? I didn't realize you'd been on the Optimist Club for that long.
Yeah, it's been almost 20 years in the Optimist Club, and there's 2 places in town. So if you're new to town, there's 2 places in town. Service Club, so the Optimist Club, I've met some really great friends
such a great
there.
group.
Such great friends. And then the other place in town, which has been so much fun, and not because of the benevolence of it or it's a great cause or anything like that, but for friends and absolute people who want to make a difference in the community and have fun. The Curling Club, of all places.
I know you love the Curling Club.
I love the Curling Club in our town, and just met such wonderful people there. But I don't know, I'd have to think long and hard. I was involved in the Mona Nordic Ski Club. I was president of that for quite a few years. Oh boy, it's starting to run together. Committees on town, so got involved with the library board initially. And
was that your first town committee?
It was.
Okay.
So what would that be? It's running together 2005, maybe 2004. I applied and thought, hey, I'm going to see if this is interesting to me. And by the end of it, I was chairing that committee. Really enjoyed it. And Darla Fraser, who is still in the position now, I ended up telling her, hey, I don't want to be on the library board anymore, not because I don't love the library, I do, and not because I didn't think highly of her. I thought, oh, there's so much more to learn about the town. I want to be involved in other things.
That's awesome.
And so that's what I did, right? And you know, one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed and has been so challenging has been the Police Services Board. And you know, I actually, you have to apply. There's 2 ways to get on, right? You either get on through the town or you get on through the province. And I applied provincially, and we were in the process of it. And then I decided, oh, maybe I will run for council.
Awesome.
And it just took so much energy to think about, are you going to do it? And you know, you were 4 years ahead of me, so I remember encouraging you to do it, and then you were pretty brutal to me at the time and had said, well, what about you? Why don't you do it,
Yep.
right? And I just wasn't ready. It's a time commitment, and you're in a position where you're leading and giving, and there's a lot to being on council, and I wasn't sure I was ready. And in reality, I probably wasn't. But now that I'm on council and it's the second term, I enjoy it so much. And that police services board that I got to be on, it's been super challenging and one of the most rewarding things I've ever done as well. But
that's awesome.
The idea, and you don't need to be on council to do this, but the idea of representing your community and being a part of it and saying, hey, I had something to do with that. And whatever your that is, it doesn't matter. It's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing. It's
and
not,
we have the best community for that because there is, like you said, so many different service clubs, so many different great organizations. They're all looking for volunteers, by the way. Everybody needs a hand these days. Since COVID, a lot of them have lost a lot of their membership. And, you know, so for the new people in town, if you're listening, is go out and join one of them. Join a service club, contact them, see what they need, find a great organization like Family Transition Place or Choices Youth Shelter or Community Living Dufferin and join the board, volunteer, be a part of it. And you're right, you meet so many great people along the way.
Well, just to go back to the beloved Optimist Club, like, you know, we put up the lights in Casey Gardens, and every year the great Christmas lights go on, and we have our holiday lights, however you want to refer to it, and we have a wonderful time doing it. But the camaraderie of doing that together, it's so much fun. Like, you know, and so you're volunteering your time, but it's a pastime too.
You're with friends, you're with your family.
It's just great. So once you get in, it's hard to get out, and the rewards are tremendous.
So what made you, so now you've talked a little bit about what got you here and how you started making friends in the town. So what was that turning point that said I could give back more by running for council for the first time? What was that moment? I think we all have one. Politics, you're right, is all about timing, and it's about finding that right moment.
We do. I think my answer would be an answer I'm not necessarily proud of, and the answer would be is I was very upset and angry about how things were going with our local politics at the time. And I've always said, and we've had many discussions, you and I, like, I don't vote for a party, I vote for a person, and I want to feel that person is really trying hard and is talented and is going to make a difference. And when you lose confidence in those folks, and why I'm uncomfortable with the statement is because I'm being perhaps rude or self-deprecating to those individuals that were on councils before. And I don't mean to do that. I had a different vision than they did. And I thought, I can do this. And then I started thinking, and this is where arrogance comes in, I thought, I have to do this, you know? And then I got elected and I started realizing, oh, hey, the skill set that you think you have, and it can be quite humbling when you're sitting in those council chairs, but the skill set that I thought I had was actually transferable. And, you know, you're multitasking, you're dealing with people, you're taking in complex information, how well do you understand it? You're
making tough decisions, analyzing.
Well, running. Right? So you're running and you're making many decisions, and time is an enemy. It's not an easy thing to do, but I just love it, you know? And I feel like our group is making a difference. I felt like our group together the last 4 years made a difference, and I feel like we're continuing that journey now. And you know, if we're getting deep about it, I just feel this connection to the town. And a lot of people say it's their honor. I think it's your honor. It is an honor to do it, but I also think, like, even being more than that, it's your obligation. If you have the skill set and the time, the ability, you should be giving back to the community that you live in. And yes, we get paid to be in the positions, and we won't get into into how we feel about the amounts or anything like that. But you know, you don't do it for the pay. You do it because you want to.
It's a public service.
It's a public service, and you want to make a difference. And I think, like, at some point, our expiry dates are going to come up. And my fear now is I hope I nail my expiry date. In other words, I don't want to stay past my due date. And I don't know when that will be, but I hope I have it figured out ahead of time. But right now, I'm running full bore and interested. And
this is our time, because we have something to offer now that's really going to transform the way that Orangeville moves forward. And using those skills in this moment is exactly what we're here to do.
Yeah, I think so too. The one thing I would say about this council, and I've heard the criticism, and the criticism is you know, they're stumbling over each other to say thank you or not agree or disagree, but they're doing it in such a way that's like, what are they all buddy sitting there or something. And it's not like that. It's just what I would say, it's a group of professional people that do have disagreements but are working together to find the best way.
Exactly.
You know, as much as I'd say I'm in lockstep with you, you know, we've had numerous
We've had several. We won't get into them today.
Numerous discussions, but people wouldn't know necessarily about them, and they're done in a way that I think is professional and good for, like, debate is a good thing.
It's
right?
the healthiest part of democracy.
Yeah.
Having 7 people sit at that table with 7 different life experiences and 7 different visions is really great. And sometimes it can be challenging, and sometimes it's hard when we don't agree on stuff, but we made some of the best decisions out of disagreement and out of learning from one another.
Agreed. The last budget session, I found it was frustrating because it took, in my mind, and the unfortunate piece was to me is, I would say there's 7 intelligent people, well, maybe 6 intelligent people and me sitting on this on thing. But unfortunately, we kind of went around before we could actually get to the decision, and there was some information that I don't think all of us fully understood. And then all of a sudden there was this epiphany. I'm like, oh, okay, there is an option here that we can do.
Well, and this was a tough budget for all of us. This was our 5th budget now together, you and I anyways.
Yeah.
And this was definitely the hardest one. We've got some worldwide global challenges that we didn't know we were going to face when we got into this. And
that's right.
Yeah.
But I think just to finish the point, what I thought was great was it felt like there was 7 people saying, well, how about this idea? And then there was a build, and how about this idea and a build? And all of a sudden the epiphany came. But to your point, I don't think we would have got there if we didn't have the discussion.
That's right.
So I imagine some people might have looked at that and thought, oh, how frustrating and how long. But for me, it was incredibly rewarding.
I think for the community, it should be incredibly rewarding too, to see that we're really trying to find the right path. We're really trying to look at every option, weigh it out, and it was a good learning moment for the community to see what goes into it.
I think so too, and then the end result too, I felt good about.
Me too.
You never feel good about a tax increase. You wouldn't pound your chest and say how great are we. Mm-hmm. But what I did feel good about is there was some significant issues that we were able to get over. And when you look at other communities that are our size, we were significantly lower than what they put forth as a tax increase. And I think that's right. I think that's so our job. And if we can do that on a regular basis, it's true and just.
So 4 years now you sat, we're in our 5th year, I guess, together.
Yeah.
So over the last 4 years, we'll leave this year out of it for now, but over those last 4 years, what was the moment for you? What was a big win? What were some, and it doesn't have to be one, it can be a couple that you thought, wow, this piece here makes it worth it, or this piece here makes it more rewarding.
Boy, oh boy, weren't we just talking about it?
We did talk about it. That's why I thought we could talk about this now, because I know we've just talked about it.
Yeah, you go. You tell me what yours is, and I want to hear it from you, because I told you the other day. What did you think yours was?
So I've had a couple of cool moments, I think, that have been really kind of that you can feel the immediate impact, or you can feel that you've really made a difference in someone's life. And you and I talked about this one before too, and it would be getting the barricade, the guardrail built at the top of Rolling Hills there. That was such a big moment that I don't know that everybody in the community would understand. But when you and I arrived at that family's house the day after a car crashed through their house, and had to hear Mom weeping because she wasn't sleeping at night. She was worried for the safety of her family. And to be able to, and it took some time, but to be able to eventually get to a resolution where she could sleep at night, and where she came and said, like, thank you, this made a huge difference in my world and for my family, that was a moment.
Yeah, I would agree. That was pretty amazing. That was about one, though, you know, like it was about one family, and certainly there was a layout that had to be done in terms of a financial investment, but it was true and just, and it needed to be done. And it took us a while to get that done.
It did.
But when it was done, I said to the people, and I say to most people when they contact me, I don't know how this is going to go, but I will try. You've convinced me, and I'm going to try, and I'll try and help. And then you bring it as far as you can, and that's all you can do, right, at the end. So there's 5 other people voting outside of you and I, and they have to decide what that's going to be. I don't know. There's been so many big ones that have come up that, you know, are we going to go to where the future is? Or
we're going to get there.
Okay. Can I go there now?
You got to give me your one. You didn't give me your one. I know you're trying to skip around it, so.
Yeah.
Give me a pretty cool moment.
So I don't know that I have one outside of what we just.
Okay.
I don't know. Like that one was pretty big and emotive, and I guess I'm thinking of something that was bigger than what we would have done as a group. I had a friend once say to me, there's only going to be 3 or 4 moments in your entire time that is going to be big, and I think that was probably one of them from an emotive standpoint. A small one for me that sticks out just happened recently, and there was some people who came to council and they were upset about water bills. And it was so interesting to me to see how angry they were. The one person had a bill that was $10,000 in water, and what he was saying was there was something wrong with the system. And you and I were kind of whispering to each other, we're going like, yeah, something's wrong here. Clearly, who has a $10,000 water bill? And so we heard it all, we heard from staff, and then we were all trying to, in real time, solve the issue. But the gentleman was so angry that he started kind of yelling back at council a little bit. And you get so caught up in the moment that I ended up saying to him, which is out of character for me, but it was like, hey, I'm speaking right now. You just sit there, you be quiet, and we're going to try and solve this for you. And I think he thought we were going to pass him off, as in, you're on your own, get out of here. And we weren't. We were trying to get to the solution, and we did end up getting to a solution. And I think we gave him back $9,500 or something, which was, it sounds like a funny thing to do with taxpayers' money, but it wasn't that at all. There was an issue.
There was definitely an issue.
And, in lots of ways, that's your role, right, is to be the judge and the jury and figure out what's best for the town. And again, I thought as a group we did a really good job with that, but you do get emotional while you're doing these things.
And a lot of our decisions, and I think that's a really good point, is a lot of the things that we're doing, we don't necessarily know what we're walking into. Yes, we have an agenda, we've got a plan, but sometimes there's little hiccups, or sometimes there's a question period or a delegation that we don't know exactly where it's going, and trying to maneuver that and make the right decision in the moment can be challenging.
Yeah, I guess another one that sticks out to me is the world was changing, and it was happening very quickly. And Sandy Brown was the mayor at the time, and we're all underneath him and 7 people trying to decide with limited information, like, what are we going to do here, and how are we going to go about this, and how do we keep everybody's safety together? And I know it's a controversial topic, but you think back to what we knew at the time, I felt good about what we did do, right? And we moved quickly to solve a whole bunch of issues.
And try and keep our community safe.
For our town, And hey, we can Monday morning quarterback that till the cows come home, and 10 years from now, there'll be lots of discussions about, was that the right thing? And I don't know, I look forward to hearing that discussion and having that secondary
But even
lens,
today, I stand by. We did what was right in the moment, and
we did what was right in the
regret
moment. And then here we are years later, we did what was right in the moment again, right? And, some things were rescinded, and we tried to be as inclusive as we could with everybody and be fair, and I think that was right. Anyway, that was a defining moment, right? Because you're thinking and running and trying to react to things as you're going, and realize these are people and people's feelings, and money was at stake, and it was I want to say it was a terrible time, but it wasn't a terrible time for me. It was just, it was a rush, because you knew you had to do the right thing. You had to
make some decisions quickly.
And all of us are so glad that period of our lives is passed, right? Yeah.
So, 4 years, you've served your 4 years, you decide to run for deputy mayor. What's that about? What led you there?
Yeah, well, first off, a lot of people were asking me, what's your plans? Do you want to be the mayor? And I would say, again, I can't answer that question as I sit here in the chair today, but I know that I have a friend here who is the mayor and is doing a great job, so there's no need to have that discussion. The truth is, and, just so everybody is aware, Lisa and I have had numerous discussions about this. I don't have the capacity to do that role. I'm working my full-time job that I love, and I don't know if everybody realizes these are part-time jobs, but by part-time jobs, like, I'm probably working 30 hours a week. on a part-time job, and I know the mayor's not doing 40. It's significantly more than that. So part-time is a strange thing to say, but I wanted to progress. I wanted to move from councillor to deputy mayor, and not because it was a title. It was, there's an opportunity to represent our community on county council.
Yeah, a bit of a bigger scale, right?
Yeah, and with that, there's a whole slew of other decisions that, you know, we get to decide on, and it's been a learning experience thus far, right? Like, there's, you think about the county roads, the sheer amount of county roads that we have, bridges in the county.
Bridges are crazy.
I wish we'd never built a bridge, if you think about it. Like, bridge, and why I say that, well, they're so expensive too, right? Once they need work or rehabilitation in some sort of way, it's just an expensive thing to do. So all of that really interested me to understand what was happening. Like, we've got Dufferin Oaks that is in Shelburne, that's part of what we do. You know, you and I talked about the transportation piece. Housing is super interesting to me, and how that all plays within, and I know people are very interested in that right now. And ultimately, I wanted to say in that, I wanted to be able to put my spin on it, learn more about it, and see if I could help, just like I know you did. But I just feel it truly is a blessing to sit here. Like, you know, you look at your life sometimes and you think, am I happy in the place that I'm in today? And the reality is I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like, I'm just so pleased to do what I do, and thrilled that people, and it's the citizens of Orangeville that entrusted me to sit here. And I guess the answer would be, like, we're working hard at it. You know, like, it takes a lot of time and energy to do it, and I'm not looking for a hero award in any sort of way. I enjoy it immensely. So no, it's a thrill to be here. And
so what's the future? We've got 4 years ahead of us. What is important to you in the next 4 years? What do you want to
we have
see
so
happen?
many,
We've got so much, I know.
Right? You know, first, there's two that come to my mind, and I don't know that we're going to fully get through them in the 4 years that we're on, but what I would like to do is have distinct plans in place heading into an election in 2026. And whether I'm running or not, I'm not espousing that. I just think for whomever's on the next council, I would like to have a really hard pen to paper with here's the plan, and here's what you need.
Some real solid frameworks.
Here's what you need to follow, and there's two things, really three things, I think. They're all sort of tied together. When you're coming up Broadway, as you come into our community right now, that section of roadway, you know, Angel's Diner is slated for removal and a new building. There's two other condo projects in that area, and more to come. What is that opening to our town going to look like? You know, we know the province is dictating that we have to have more people in this town. We don't have land, so how is that going to go? And I'll be horrified if you turn onto Broadway 10 years from now and you go, oh, this is terrible. And I want it to be something that we're all proud of. Like, we're still a small town. It means something to us to have the town the way it is, but we know it has to change in some sort of way. Like, we can buck and scream all we want, it's going to change. I want to have say into what that change is. I don't know that I'll get the buildings up before the end of the term, but I want a blueprint. I want something agreed to with council, the strategic plan to be implemented, and say, okay, this is the vision, and this is how it's going to look.
Well, and that urban planning piece is so important because it plays into everything else that happens in the community. It plays into all the social pieces, all the emotional pieces, all the development pieces, how we raise our kids.
I think you're absolutely right. And, you know, if I could give a plug, you know, our planner, Brandon Ward, like, I'm just so pleased with him. Like, he does do a really nice job, and the projects he's got going on right now are looking at what could that look like. And I can't wait for the full unveiling, and it'll be fun to share it and get public input on where we could go with it. And then I think the other item really on my mind, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm more and more bold, because 4 years ago I didn't want to talk about Tony Rose and the pool. This time in the election, I would knock on doors and people would ask me, I said, guys, like, it's at the end of its life. It's not about me and whether I want to close a pool. It was never my plan to close a pool. the pool's going to close itself.
Yeah.
It can't stay. It's just not. It's not going to continue in the way it is, and Tony Rose itself is in trouble. So as someone who's trying to be financially prudent, as I know you are too, we've had numerous discussions that I don't want to buy a paperclip for that place right now, you know, and you still have an obligation. It has to continue to run and provide a service to us in the period of time that we need it. But Tony Rose needs to come down, and some sort of multi-use platform needs to go in there, and I'm excited to see what the possibilities could be. Like it's going to be amazing in some sort of way for future generations of Orangeville to see what the new Tony Rose will look like.
Yeah.
And then I would say the next dovetail to that is what does Alder look like, and how does that all play? And it's not about just sports, like, you know.
No, it's about community services.
Yeah. How does this play in? What's the library look like? How's our arts kids taken into account here, right? So, you know, we can talk about lacrosse and hockey, which this town loves and
pieces, absolutely.
does a great thing. And I don't think you'd see two people saying that we don't support them. We do.
Yeah.
But there's other things at play here too. And I'm super excited to see how this all dovetails together. So that's probably 3 things on my mind. And then maybe the 4th would be something along the lines that as I've gotten to know you, you've sort of dragged me along the way. So people are wondering, maybe I'm a little more right than you are, right wing, I mean, as opposed to it. I'm seeing that there's people in our community that need our help. They need our mentoring, they need our money, and I'm not suggesting taxpayers' money. They need donations
we need to have
sort.
social policy plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's organizations in our town that do great things.
Yeah.
So you just had Family Transition come to council, and they presented this gorgeous plan that's going to
change our community.
It's going to be amazing. So extra beds for, you know, people for a period of time. They won't have to be transient. They'll stay there for a longer period of time. I think that's amazing. It's going to be great. So those social platforms that we have within our community, they need to be supported too. So, you know, you talk about maybe, I don't know if those are the right 3, but they're certainly a big 3.
Those are awesome.
And then, you know, these other things surround us.
Definitely.
You know?
It's all about community development, right?
Yeah, and how do we bring those folks along with us?
That's
because if the community is, you know, just this upper middle class community, it's no good. We got to bring everybody else with us. Orangeville doesn't need sections of town that aren't looked after. It's one whole town.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's awesome. And we are out of time. Just like that. I know we spent an entire half hour talking about you and our plans and how we move forward. And I thank you so much for being here.
Well,
I'm so glad you got to be on my first show.
Yeah.
And I know you were the first show that I was on for Rogers ever a long time ago. So thank you. And thank you guys for joining us. And with that, I'll let Todd say goodbye as well. And thanks for joining us on the Post Office.
Yeah, bye everybody. Good luck with your show, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah.